Welcome back to the basement.
Woohoo!
Yay!
All right, so this is a true third episode.
This is the third
It
show.
really is.
like one of us are down.
Now, I'm just going to give everyone a heads up before we get started. If you have not seen The Last Jedi yet, turn the podcast off now, go to the fucking movie theater,
Yeah.
and then start it up again.
Yeah,
unless
don't
you don't,
listen to this.
unless you don't care or you have
Unless
no
you
joy
don't
in your
care.
heart.
There
James,
he is.
There's excitable James.
No, that's the white guy.
Oh, okay. And the other thing you need to know about this episode, we will have a broken news because we will take a break and then we'll continue the Star Wars discussion after that. But the other thing you need to know about this episode is that here at the beginning, Jay is passed out
He's on the
and
ground.
is asleep on the ground.
Now, Shannon, can you hand me the evidence?
Yeah.
What you also need to know about this
Yeah.
episode.
There you go.
So,
All
and
right,
the
so
other,
this
the other
is for
part
the
of the
camera.
So
episode,
this is if you're on
No,
your,
I've got this. So it's a camera for the people
if
that
you're on
watch this
on our YouTube channel.
that's 4 shot glasses.
Go ahead and subscribe.
Yeah, hit subscribe.
Excitable James would be very excited.
And
about
this kid-sized bottle of Crown.
it. Yeah.
Kid size.
Yeah.
It's like
fun
this
size.
this is like the crown you would get in a fucking Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's the Crown. Usually, my grandma would have stashed in her Afghan.
Yeah.
You know. So
So yeah, that's why Jay is down.
And then, but also at the very end of the interviews.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
At the very end of the episode,
End of the episode.
Yeah.
After
The
our
episode
second
interviews,
after
yeah.
our second Star Wars segment.
Yeah. All the way at the end, I sit down with the cast of Paddington 2.
Oh shit.
And
was the
Is
first one
Pat
good?
was
I
Pat-
actually liked the
I
first
never saw
one.
the first one.
The first one was good.
Was it? Okay.
And I
Did
grew
you
up on
get
Paddington.
to interview Paddington?
I better. I'd be pissed if I don't. If they had a little baby bear dressed up like Paddington, I'd lose my shit.
you really would.
That would be
It
cool.
would eat your ass.
No, the first one I actually kind of enjoyed. It was.
You watched it, Kerry?
I did. I can't remember the circumstances, but
cry?
I did.
You're a very emotional movie viewer.
You know, I've noticed as I get older too, it's worse.
That's me too.
Yeah.
Like no, as life breaks you down, like shit
Exactly.
makes you cry so much easier.
Well,
You-
as you
you-
get older, you produce less testosterone as well.
And then there's that. Yeah.
So
But it's got some good
Thanks for
people in it.
noticing.
but the truth of it
We're
is,
talking about you in particular.
testosterone.
no, you too.
Testosterone does tend to make you emotionally volatile.
I can't wait till your fucking beard hair falls out.
That'll probably happen next week.
All right.
But if the names are on the list, Hugh Grant is in it.
Oh yes.
And then Sally Hawkins from The Shape of Water.
Oh,
She's lovely.
I think she's fantastic.
You got to
Yeah.
praise her for that.
So we'll just talk about that the time.
Well, Jimmy Martin will be interviewing those people.
Hey!
Jimmy Martin, everybody.
Watch me on KSL, Big Movie Mouth, Read Me and Slug, Geek Show, Mediocre Show, and Arrow. But yeah, that's it. That's what I've been up to. So that's for a week in Atlanta. And then after I go to that junket, I come back for like a few days, and I go back and kind
Wait,
of.
hold on. Are you calling going to hang out with your family at Junket now?
Oh, that's the first trip.
Oh,
That's
okay,
after a week of hanging out with my
sorry.
And then the Paddington, and then a few days after that, Kat and I are going down there for the Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh
So-
yeah, that's
I
right.
hate that you bring your wife to that now
I'm
because we
sorry.
had so much fun.
Jealous. That's what.
She didn't go the first 2 years, didn't realize how much fun it was, then couldn't go when you went.
And then saw how much fun we had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think she's going to give up that
Thanks,
seat.
buddy.
Oh, now these are.
What? Candy?
Yeah, these were made by my neighbor. Actually, these have they're jalapeno and caramel.
Let me
I
get,
think
try
that's
that. Actually,
try that and make sure
Yeah.
that's what it is. I haven't had it yet. So, anyway,
That's
all
not
right.
wrapped up dog turds.
So there's oh hi Lee George Cade.
Howdy, sweetie.
How are you?
I'm good. It's my new podcast, the Howdy Sweetie podcast. It's me.
And it's
Me
where's your
talking to myself.
where's your jerky?
Jerky is everywhere in the world. It's all over the place.
It's
Ohio,
vegan
Ohio,
jerky.
Michigan. Yeah, we're all over the place. But the best place to find it online, if you're not here in Salt Lake City, of course, best place is either the Jade Market.
Yes.
You could head up to Este Pizza in Park City. You can stop by our shop, the formerly known as the Artist Known as Fresh. And of course, Watchtower Cafe. Online, you can hit it at veganessentials.com or my all-time favorite, fakemeats.com.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in Missoula, Montana, the Bike Doctor.
The bike doctor.
You all right?
Yeah.
What's you need something?
I'm trying to decide if I want to eat another one.
I imagine the milk tempers the jalapeno.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I'm going to save it
I haven't
because
had it yet.
Kerry's like, eat this shit. I don't want to.
I don't know if I'll eat it.
it's good.
It's pretty good, Kerry.
I'm not a jalapeno.
It doesn't really have a jalapeno flavor, a little bit, but it's just got like a
It's got
spicy
a little
kick.
Stink.
Oh,
It's got a
okay.
little stink.
It's pretty good.
Oh, she made them last year. I didn't have them because
These
again,
are a year old.
no.
Oh,
It's a fresh bet. She said she made more this year.
Sweet.
because people like them.
Sweet summer child.
Okay.
Yes, he's a sweet summer child. He's quad T.
Hey, these jalapeno caramels are pretty good. Check me out on Twitter at QuadTTony, or always here on the Geek Show or on the Gadget Spot every other week with Excitable James.
2018's already beat him down.
It's only a weekend. And
Like he
he's feeling
sounds like
sick.
an injured husky lately.
He's laying next to Jay.
Probably drunk off his breath.
Oh, and we got Jaron and Owen, and we talk about gadgets, tech, and video games. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. B.
Yeah. Just let me take it from here.
Yeah. Are you back at you're back at work now, aren't you?
What day
today
is
is the
today?
8th. Yes. You've been back for
yeah,
a
I'm
week.
back.
Yeah.
No. This is my first day back.
Oh, okay.
I'm back to my horrible daily existence.
Mm.
But making the best of it and changing the world one mind at a time. Fuck my life. There we go.
You got this?
Are you sick of crying yourself to sleep on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Then stop it. Stop it.
That's the best advice he's ever
Yeah,
given.
stop
I've
it.
been
Come
doing
on
it
down.
all this time. I just need to get with the program. I need to stop it.
Just stop.
Come on down to Lucky 13.
Oh, there's
and
more than just stop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Stop
Come
being
on
sad.
down every Wednesday, 8:30. Come down and giggle your little silly ass off as we do our pub quiz. It's better than crying yourself to sleep.
I thought it was as simple as stop being sad, but apparently there's
Oh, there's more.
there's a tendency.
Yeah,
I keep reading all these advice things. I said, don't tell your kids to stop being sad. Let them own their emotions. And now I
Hey,
realize I just
stop
need to
it.
tell them to stop it.
It's just stop it. Just
Stop it and go to Lucky 13
well,
and
no,
laugh
it's
their
changed
little
my whole
asses
life.
off.
I've got I got one of those Google Homes now, and I love it. Like you're like, if you get up and say, "Hey Google, good morning," it'll start talking to you, and then you get sick of it and you just go, "Stop it." And it stops. It's so great. I just
Have you considered saying, hey, Google, can you write my pub quiz for me?
Now he has.
well, yeah, just now that's gonna happen.
Another $1 million
Anyway.
idea.
Lucky 13, it's fucking great. You guys
All right.
come down there.
You know, that slogan's
Stop
better than
crying.
it's easy to eat.
Stop crying. That's the name of the episode. Because I know where we're going.
Oh, yeah.
Stop crying.
Well, there's
That
going to be some
fits.
people crying when I'm done with them.
That's right.
But this is wait. So this is after the fireside chat. So they come from that episode to this, and now it says stop crying.
crying.
Quit your
Stop
fucking crying.
Yeah, they've had a week to compose themselves. They're okay.
Get
right.
your shit together.
I gave you a sock, Dobby. Shut up.
Now go away.
All right.
Calm down, Karen.
Karen's the troll's name. Hey, we have a host.
Oh, hi. Monday through Friday, 6 to 10, x96.com.
It's Kerry Jackson.
He wakes you
That's
up in
me.
your bed.
Did we
Yes.
introduce everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I can see we've got
Well,
less.
We're down one.
We're
but
less. at
there's-
the
Oh,
table.
right.
And that
Over there is Jay
there's
Whittaker.
another motherfucker
Yeah.
passed out on the floor.
Jay Whittaker's. And see, here's the thing: is that you see the blanket that he's got?
Mhm.
This is what I call the murder blanket.
It's Sue's cashmere jacket.
It's the blanket with weights in it.
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, you have one of those?
Yeah, and so it's like it's pressing him down. Now.
that's keeping him comfortable.
It's keeping him
It's
comfortable
keeping
and
him
calm,
in dreamland.
so he's not up touching people.
I'm really happy that now that we're on the other side of December 21st, that the days are getting a little longer. We've got a little more daylight,
Yes.
a little more joy
I
spread in our
agree.
lives
May I ask?
as we
How
get
much you
closer
paid for that?
to.
I don't know. You have to ask.
Here we go.
Sue.
Hey,
I wanted to get one.
hey, you guys can come fucks with Jay Whittaker
Under a blanket.
on the blanket on the floor.
under the murder blanket. All right,
So we're only 5 months away from Solo, a Star Wars story.
that's true.
That kind of blew me away.
That's
they're
not
not-
even. We're a month away from
In
Black
May.
Panther.
It's in May.
I was kind of hoping actually that they would hold on to it until December.
I think December's a good time for Star Wars.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
great if Star Wars
Especially-
owned Christmas.
for those of us in, shall we say, shitty climates that don't like to ski.
Yeah.
I think it gives me something to look forward to in December.
Yeah.
You know, the Star Wars.
I was kind of hoping that they would say, we're moving
But
it.
May is traditionally a Star Wars month.
It is,
so
yes.
I get that.
You gotta look at if you look at 2018's not even just Star Wars or that just geek movies in general. Like every month has at least one or two.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
like,
pretty
yes,
exciting. We
I
got
love it.
Pacific Rim Uprising.
Excellent.
See, that wasn't even on my mind.
Yeah, it's February next month.
That's
I only know
ridiculous.
because my 17-year-old daughter keeps losing her mind and screaming constantly because Stacker Pentecost is her hero, and then now John Boyega, her other hero, is playing Stacker's kid. which means that it gets Finn Star Wars 1 month.
Yeah.
She gets.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about The Last Jedi. Now, again,
Well, this is not.
if you have not seen it, we're going to talk all about it, and I would rather that you go see it without any knowledge, because that is why I enjoyed it so much.
I have a few friends that made the mistake of reading about some of the nitpicks that some of these. Now let's say what it is. There are people with legitimate grievances against the movie, and that's fair. I may disagree with you on what you have a grievance with, but we can talk. That's cool. I don't want to hear your whining about it. We can talk. But there are some alt-right groups that hate the character of Rey.
Yes.
That hate that there were so many strong female characters in this movie, that ultimately the person who saved everybody's ass was a woman, and that
I
bothers.
do have a problem with that.
I actually read these words, these shitty ass words I read on one of these forums. For the first time in my life, I wish there were fewer tits in a movie.
What? Jesus.
Whoa, really?
So
this
is the caliber of shit stain that's going out there, and they, Rotten Tomatoes says no, they couldn't do it, but they're creating multiple accounts and programming bots.
Yeah, they're Rotten Tomatoes is lying about that.
To shit stain this movie.
Jeez.
Now, the character they're talking about is Hondo, right?
Holdo.
Who?
Holdo.
Yeah, Hondo's a completely different guy.
It's a John Wayne movie.
Wait, hold on.
All
Are
right.
they also talking about those things that squirt out the green milk? Because they had 6 tits.
We'll get to
they
that.
weren't even talking about the
No, they
seaside.
had 4.
We'll get to that. Now,
They were literally
I looked.
complaining about the number of
Female?
heroic speaking female roles in this movie.
All right, let's take a look at that character. Let's take a look at Holdo.
Emrin Holdo.
Yes.
This is Laura Dern's
Laura
character,
Dern's
right?
character.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about that. Here's the thing about that character, is that it was not written as a woman.
Nor were you supposed to like this character.
Nor were you supposed to like this character.
That's the brilliance of that character.
Didn't for the
could
first
have-
part of it.
Yeah, it could have been played by a man.
Right.
But it was played by a woman. So I don't understand what your problem is. The tropes were there. It couldn't have. And here's the other one. The argument that I heard about that one is
Yeah.
that it should have been Admiral Akbar. No, and here's why: is because Poe needed to not know or trust this person.
Poe
yeah.
would have listened to Akbar.
That's a
Poe would have
good
listened to
point.
Akbar because Akbar is a general. He's
Yep.
known. So it could not have been Akbar. It
Nope.
had to be a different character.
And
Now,
it had to be somebody that when this person,
Yes.
and I will bring this up a little bit later, when she pulls the broadside maneuver and you realize that she was right all along, and that every death that has occurred, you start realizing the big heroic bombing run at the beginning of the movie.
It's
and
a
please,
fucking bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath, and it's a bloodbath that is Poe's fault.
Yep.
Yeah.
Poe Dameron
Yeah.
killed all of those pilots. We don't know what Leia's plan for them was. He literally, and if we had somebody in the military on the show, we could talk about this. But you don't as a commander just counteract the actual commander in chief of your military and say, no, I got a better idea. I'm going to do this. Yeah, you're going to get demoted. And then when your vice admiral comes along and you decide to fucking mutineer, the whole mission that Finn and Rose go on, people are so upset that mission was so futile. Well, they're fucking idiots. They parked on the beach at a casino planet and ended up in the cell with the wrong hacker and decide, oh, we'll listen to this guy. We don't even know him.
I don't know why they parked at the beach. Casinos always have garages.
Well, because
And it's always free parking, too.
In Finn's defense, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started on people complaining about Finn. We're talking about a guy who's literally been a programmed officer until a week before this movie.
Exactly.
He's been a programmed drone.
And that's the other thing is that, like, I don't think a lot of people realize that this movie takes place
Literally right after.
after
Right after
Force
Force
Awakens.
Here's the thing about Finn that I don't think a lot of people understand. And I think, in my opinion, they handled this poorly in his character development. He does not speak like someone who has been a drone their entire life since a baby. As a result, I think people give him too much free thinking credit than he
that's
deserves.
true.
I think
Could be.
it's he starts doubting his programming, and that makes him ultimately almost too human and almost too vulnerable. I mean, somebody was arguing about how protective he was of Rose's medallion. Like, why would he be so protective of that? I'm like, because this is a guy who's never had a possession in his entire life.
No, I
Ever
agree.
had a possession in his entire life.
Until
But-
his jacket.
And that jacket.
That
you
fucking
look-
jacket.
Third
Yeah.
viewing through, I realized that jacket, by the way, Visual Dictionary tells who did it, But that jacket's been stitched up because he got slashed through with it by Kylo Ren, and it's been stitched up because Poe sat there and stitched it up for him while he was waiting for him to recover.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's the true message of all of this. They say it over and over and over again: is fight for what you love, and let the past go. And they forget this all the time. There's so many people getting caught up. So I already talked about the alt-right guys.
Yes.
No, the men's rights activists.
Yes.
You know, the alt-right guys that are pissed off because there's just too progressive of a message going on.
And
Okay.
yeah,
That's where I would like to.
immediately that's
Yeah.
yeah that's where my Star Trek kicks in.
Right.
But yeah.
This is where I would like to step in. My favorite review I have read of this movie, its headline is, "This Star Wars movie contains something that no other Star Wars movie has ever contained, and that is nuance."
There's a lot of nuance there.
There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of thinking. There's a lot of feeling. And I'm just going to say, we've always said, Star Wars is made for kids. This one was not made for kids.
No.
It was made enjoyable for kids.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the things was, like, there was too much comedy in it. That was to keep kids engaged.
It was
right?
also to keep you from losing your fucking mind when you
Right,
realize
sure.
that it's a 2.5 hour long snuff film.
But nuance, where you
Yeah.
had to sit there and think. And you just don't look at, like, I'm sorry, I think Kylo Ren, man, I thought he was a little bitch in the first one. The second one, I'm like, this is a complicated character.
Yep.
You know? And the relationship between him and Rey is so fucking complicated.
Well-
right? And even the relationship between not Hulk, sorry, Luke and the Force and fuck it, Yoda.
Oh, this is
right?
a spoiler.
It's
Yeah.
also
Spoiler
it's
cast.
also fucking complicated, right? It's not your standard Star Wars movie.
Well, I
cut and paste.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first movie.
Yeah.
What was the complaint about the first movie?
It
was too similar.
All they
similar.
did was remake A New Hope,
Which I adamantly disagree with.
I disagree with.
But I can see that.
You can see where they
They
would say
hit the beats. They hit the beats. But
now this comes along, and it is not like any Star Wars movie you've seen.
No.
And they're upset about they got
Kerry,
something
I disagree
fresh,
with you.
you know?
Disagree with you. I think The Last Jedi hits all the beats of Empire Strikes Back, but in a very different and surprising way.
Exactly. It's something different. It's not a by the numbers. Holdo should have been a guy.
Holdo
you know,
should have been a guy. And
if it was a regular Star Wars movie, he would have been.
They starkly contrast that.
Yeah.
The genius of Holdo's character is that she's wearing. Okay, let's. We've become so accustomed to knowing everything there is to know about Star Wars because of the visual dictionaries and because of all of the background books and all the storybooks. We go, oh well, we know that Holdo and Leia have been friends since they were 16 from the Leia book that came out last summer. And we know that the whole reason why Leia found out about the rebellion is because Leia and Holdo went to Crate Base to do a pathfinding run, and they found Bail Organa there, and they went, none of that's in the movie. Doesn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know
they
any
contrast,
of that stuff.
They contrast Holdo so brilliantly in that, the character could have been a male character. The character could have been a man. It could have been Jan Dodonna, for Christ's sake, if you want to bring in a classic Star Wars character. But they bring in this woman with beautiful ringlet hair and a long flowing evening gown, which, maybe she didn't have time to pack. Maybe that's her Fleet Admiral's uniform. We don't know.
Yeah.
This is a universe where spaceships make noise, so anything's up for grabs. So, but they contrast that. She's not your steely, hard veteran. She's actually really soft-spoken.
Yeah.
And
She didn't yell the line, "Get this man off my bridge."
no.
She just very calmly, "Get this man off my bridge."
Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, when she first came out, I didn't like her. And
You weren't supposed to.
Oh, I know.
Right.
But the two parts, I mean, we can get to that, the main one. But they've got Poe. Oh, because was it Leia kicks over the door and just blasts,
Stuns him with her sporting rifle from
Yeah.
episode 4.
and does that, and then all of a sudden she goes, "Be careful, this one's trouble." And Lorder looks down and goes,
Yeah, I
"I
like
like
him.
him."
Yeah.
Because she's a rebel too.
She's a rebel at heart, and she understands the importance, and that's the overall theme. There's the theme of getting over it, and that's actually a really good resounding theme for geeks, and probably why they're resonating against it so hard. Some geeks are resonating against it so hard. They don't want to get over it, and this movie is about getting over it, but it's also about it's the crucible of trial, right? So Rey needs to become the knight. She needs to become the Skywalker character. She's not a Skywalker, as we learn, or is she anybody else? She might be. We don't know. She could be a clone. But she has to become the knight. What does Poe have to become? Poe has to become a leader. He's already a hero. And as a squad-based leader, he works. He can lead a squad of 10 X-Wings just fine. But when you're leading the entire Resistance, which you know he's going to have to do at some point.
Poe is also Poe's kind of the Han Solo in this movie, right? Because if you think about the Han Solo character arc, right? He didn't give a shit. He didn't believe about the Jedis. He didn't believe in that rebellion.
Well, that's kind of where Finn becomes the Han Solo character.
But my thing is it hits all the beats of all of Empire Strikes Back in its own fucking way.
Well, the characters have to evolve, and Poe is going to become the leader.
He has to become the leader.
And in order to become the leader, he's got to have some losses.
And they even shine on that when they say the natural order of succession here, Leia's down, then it's pretty clear who it's going to go to. And they show him, and he's getting ready to make his big, I accept this tremendous burden, even though I just lost this entire bomber squadron, not knowing what's going on with it. Oh, we're going to give it to this lady that you don't like and you don't trust, and who has been very cleverly written to push all of your I don't like her buttons. And she's not an asshole.
No.
She's just very... And people are complaining because she didn't tell him what her plan was. Well, again, I haven't served, but my father served. And you know what? If your superior officer said, you're doing this, you did that.
Right. Yeah.
There wasn't time for rebuttals.
Not to mention, you don't tell the person just convicted of insubordination your big plan.
Yeah, you just cost us. You just cost us. You just cost us our entire bomber fleet.
I'm not telling you what I'm doing next.
And then when he does find out what's going on, what does he do? He gets on the comm and tells Finn and Rose, and DJ's sitting there in the back seat going, "Cool, now I've got something to make some money from the Empire with." And okay, then you get to Finn, right? What's Finn's big story arc? He's a defector, right? He's a big defector. Yeah. He's only heroic when it comes to saving his own ass or saving Rey, his first friend, right? That's what. By the end of the movie, he's a hero for the Resistance.
Right.
He's going to give up his life for everybody.
He is self-identified rebel scum.
But to the Resistance, he's a hero in the beginning of the film. Because remember Rose going on.
Right.
About,
they don't realize.
They don't know.
They don't realize.
Yeah.
But he still is. By the end, because only Rose knows.
And to them, finally. He has earned that reputation. To himself, he has earned that reputation.
And
Kylo, the most.
Guys, so I just want right now, listen to the discussion we're having about Star Wars movies. Have we ever had this complicated discussion about a Star Wars movie?
No, because in the previous Star Wars movies, the path of the hero was Luke's. It wasn't the path of Han Solo. There was I'm going to be a little less of a scoundrel, be more of a hero.
Right.
But the arc.
Leia was already a leader.
Yeah, there was really no character progression.
No, Vader was already the badass. That scene, when you realize you're being fucked with, and I remember everybody in the theater just cheering when Kylo and Rey are back to back. Because Snoke's dead. They're going to take on those badass guys, and they're doing the Throne of Blood scene from Akira Kurosawa, and they're getting ready to fight, and the theater erupts in cheers because they're like, "Here it is." Our pre-programmed, preordained redemption arc from Kylo Ren.
Yeah. They are getting together, and Kylo has turned.
He's like to be a good guy now, and then it turns out that the ultimate
he pulled a Vader.
he pulled a Vader because he realized that Snoke was wrong and that Snoke was arrogant. And arrogance is a big theme in this movie, too. That Snoke was arrogant and that he didn't see the big picture and that Kylo could figure it out. He's going to lead the First Order. So his story arc, you have the other three. You've got the knight, you've got the hero, you've got the leader. You need the fucking villain. And you got a villain.
Dude, the scene, and they kind of showed it in the teasers or whatever, but when Snoke just basically chews his ass out, like that, and and then he just gets there and it smashes.
He says, "You're a boy wearing a mask."
Yeah,
take that ridiculous thing off.
But when he's
as a teacher, I was just like, yeah.
Well,
pull that fucking shit off, man.
Smashes it, but the shot when the elevator doors open and it's just fucking crumbled like that. I was like, oh man, I kind of like that mask. But no, you said about getting over it, and it's funny. When you were saying that, I had this vision in my head. I think the way this one's a little bit more complicated is because and I don't think that JJ just ripped off New Hope, but there's the beats again.
He had very clear-cut expectations that Lucasfilm handled,
and he had to show us the people watching the movie that we got this.
Yeah.
We love it, and so I'm going to hit these familiar beats for you. And now you're there. Now you trust us. Hey, guess what? We got something new in mind for
Johnson
you. Yeah.
obviously loves this property.
Yes.
The vision in my mind, though, of that was JJ walking up to like a stream of that franchise, just dipping his toe in it and be like, all right. Brian Johnson walks up and builds a bridge across it and says, let's keep going.
And he talks, there's been a lot of flack aimed at Rian Johnson. They say that there's a lot of scenes where they feel like he just shit on what Abrams set up. And it's funny how all of a sudden Abrams is unassailable to the same community that was lambasting him a month ago.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But what Johnson did, I mean, for one, recognize that J.J. Abrams was an executive producer on the movie, that he was in all of the script pitches that went on, every single thing.
Yeah.
And
It's not like JJ was out when this was
and
made.
Abrams, from what I've heard, Abrams was ecstatic after he got the shooting script for the movie because he was like, "Oh my God, I get to play in a huge way."
Yeah.
You've got a guy who's got power levels bigger than Vader leading the First Order, and a dude. You get a showdown with Luke. I know some people had some problems with Luke's big showdown because this is a get over it moment.
Yep.
This get over it moment is you read all these expanded universe books where Luke is hurling Star Destroyers towards the ground and all this other shit,
Or
and
like video games.
or video games or comics where you're like, oh, that's my Luke. That's my Luke. No, you've got a guy who's broken after 30 years of failure, or maybe 16 years.
In isolation, too.
And this whole argument where it's like, Hamill's like, well, it wasn't my Luke. Well, sure. Your Luke would have been boring as fuck.
Or whiny.
I think whinier, but going back to the scene of they're not AT-ATs, but I get it, but they're blasting down on them. And there's two things that that are most fuck you to Kylo Ren. Is the first one is the shoulder brush.
Yeah.
There's nothing on his fucking shoulder.
Nothing.
And I love that.
No, like
then the other-
watching this movie multiple times
Yeah.
is one of the most amazing experiences you can have. I'm going to go watch it again.
But one of the greatest lines, though. See you around, kid.
Oh,
See
yeah.
you around, kid.
You get some subtle stuff the second time through that you didn't get through the like I didn't realize they kept focusing on Kylo's feet because every time he'd do the twist before he was going to charge, you'd see the disruption of the
samurai
salt.
Salt.
He's disrupting the salt, and Luke
No
would do the
red-
same thing.
yeah.
And there's no disruption.
Yeah.
And you're like, so they telegraph the whole thing.
Well, yeah, my first clue that he was not there was because he had no gray in his
Yep,
beard.
he was young. I knew exactly
But
right then.
Do you guys want to hear a confession from me? I've seen it twice.
Mm-hmm.
In the 2 times I watched it, I never realized. And I haven't seen it because I think I was so overwhelmed by it all.
It's overwhelming.
I didn't realize that the kid used the Force to pick up the fucking broom.
Oh, really?
At the very end, yeah.
Well,
I've never noticed that.
Well, I want to come back. I want to come back to that scene because to me, there's very important shit going on in that
Yes.
scene, and I want to talk about Snoke and the complaints about that. And,
There's so much to fucking talk about.
As
This
there
movie.
is.
as I told somebody earlier this week who decided to pick an argument with me about Snoke, you are going up against a level 400 Star Wars lore master. Check yourself before you get hurt.
And we'll get to that coming up. We'll have broken news next, and then we'll finish this discussion after these messages. We'll be right
Right,
back.
Snoke.